Greetings, fellow traders. Here we sit on a Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Central Time. Of course, like always, I hope that you're having a great day and that you're having a great trading experience today, making some money. Not losing your shirt, so to speak. Market's pretty quiet today. All the buzz is around Jackson Hole Symposium tomorrow. Mario Draghi speaking out of the ECB. Janet Yellen out of the U.S. speaking. A lot of information to come there. Market's pretty quiet. U.S. stock markets are down slightly, about 0.1 to 0.2%. 5 points on the S&P, 29 on the Dow, and 7 on the NASDAQ. So pretty flat day. Howdy, Amrit. Hope you're doing well today as well. So what I'd like to do is show you a couple trades that I'm in now and some that I'm watching as far as potential future setups. Donald Trump's been tweeting a little bit, tweeting about Hurricane Harvey that's coming in the Gulf Coast and hitting Texas. His visit to Yuma, Arizona. And then some more drama about fake news and people lying and cheating and stealing, that kind of stuff. So nothing too new there. I have a short on the Aussie dollar, and I'm short basically right at market price here at markets at 78.95, 96. I'm short about 78.94. I took it just a couple hours ago with these little wicks here. I'll pull them up for you this way. My stop on the Aussie is up here, about 79.20. I don't have a target, but I can tell you it's going to be ahead of 78.40. This dark line that was put in on the Aussie buck was that high of the wick that we saw back on April 17th or so. This really thick dark line there. Aggressively thick black line. So what we have here is a stop that's pretty tight. 25 pips, not huge. And a take profit or target that's going to be down less than 55 pips. So we're going to have a nice 1.5 to 1 target here. I'm going to just put a target down in that area and then adjust it a little. Anybody else selling the Aussie dollar here today? I think this is going to look pretty good. This target's right at about 78.53. So that gives us about a 27-point stop and just shy of a 40 pip target. Pretty decent little trade here on the Aussie dollar short. Hey, thanks for the coffee, Yudi. Hey, Jenny. Cedar. Yeah, we'll take a look at UJ. Let's take a peek at dollar yen next. I did have a scalp trade on my other account here on dollar yen today. I'm going to get rid of this. This was the trade that I had covered this morning during US session to take the pound Aussie short. The target was down deep, about 161, and we were looking for about 100 pips, and it came out into support, and I actually got in this trade, and then I got out with 15. I don't exactly remember where I was here in the U.S. session. I think it was somewhere right in this area, and I took 15 pips and went down as far as 38 or 40, 42 pips, but I got out of that. This is the first time I traded pound Aussie in a long time. So I'm going to tuck that away. So that's what I have short on Aussie buck. I'm still short on silver, by the way, if anyone's wondering. I know not a lot of people are trading this and too interested in it because it is pretty quiet. It's been choppy. I've been in this trade since, let's see, August 22nd on my broker. I think it was August 21st, since Monday. Swap is positive, even though it's very slightly positive. $2 positive in swap on 1.3 lots. But I'm still short on silver. Let's take a look at dollar yen. I bought dollar yen earlier today. Let me pull up my other LMFX account here, and I'll take a look at where I got in and out on the dollar yen. So I bought the dollar yen at 109.33.2, and I closed out at 109.55.6. So that was about 20 pips, 22 pips profit on the dollar yen, 109.33 to 109.55. Let's see where that lines up on this chart. $33, so somewhere down in here. Actually, no, that's not right, is it? Oh, it's a 15-minute chart. Sorry, guys. Yeah, 33. Somewhere in this range, and I got out at 55. I think I got out right up in this area. So that was my scalp trade for the day. Again, I took it on my other account. It wasn't in this account. This account's usually just 1 hour swing trades. It was 22 pips or so on the dollar yen. I'm currently out of it now. I know we had a little chatter coming across the wires. Let's see. Yeah, no news hitting. Dollar yen above 109.70. Japan mulls departure tax. Okay. JP Morgan chair says there's more risk in the Fed delaying than hiking early. All right, so we're going to have to see where the markets settle ahead of the big news out of Jackson Hole tomorrow. Again, my opinion on that is that, Yellen's going to be speaking. I'm sure there'll be, the markets will be waiting and moving after and during her speech there. But I think Mario Draghi is going to be the one that's going to move the markets the most, the euro. My opinion, and again, if you watched this morning, I'm not sure, but I covered that this morning, is that I think he's going to talk the euro down just a little bit. I feel that the inflation rate in the eurozone is not ideal for where they want it to be, and I think he's going to talk the euro down just a little bit. So we could see, and I think we will see, quite a bit of volatility out of the euro dollar, euro yen, euro pound, euro Aussie, and any other cross there. Those are the ones that I trade with the euro. Dollar yen right now, if you're long, you're probably making money on the dollar yen. However, if you're not long, I would not advise a long unless we get confirmation of a break above 109.82 or so. That's where this swing high comes in on the hourly. This was put in just a couple days ago on August 23rd. We're about 15 to 17 pips away from that high. You can see the impulsive move up here. And that's pretty classic of lower liquidity Asian session trading. This spike up to 20 some pip up in the dollar yen. I wouldn't get too excited about it. This morning I also talked about lower liquidity and higher volatility as some traders take profits and some close out their losses ahead of the news coming up over the weekend. The thing about Jackson Hole is I posted the schedule up there. It goes into the weekend, where of course if you're trading the Forex market, you don't have a lot of opportunity to get out of trades if there is some news that really shakes things up. So that's one of the reasons I took the short on the pound Aussie this morning. And that was because I wanted to avoid the volatility of the euro and the volatility of the USD in the short term. The dollar yen trade though looked good to me, and I had a pretty close stop, and it never even got close. I think I had a stop of 20 some pips, and we didn't even get. Maybe we got nearly 20 down there. So I like dollar yen to the upside, but with this spike up here, if you're going to play it, the only way you can really play it, in my opinion, is to get long around 109.63, 64, which is only a couple pips away, trying to buy at this support area. But that's on a 5-minute time frame, and I just don't play that like I used to back years ago. I like a little bit of short-term dollar strength over this Asian session here. This is the dollar index, the DXY. on the hourly. We're sitting at 93.25 currently. I believe if we project this out just a little bit longer, that you can see that, you know, we're starting to get a somewhat respectable trend line here. Maybe it's a little bit lower than this, but you get the idea. So is this basically a bearish wedge that's taking place on the dollar index? You know, this coming down here, and are we just going to just collapse all the way? We talked about the possible lower area of support that's coming up. I think it's behind my video here, but it was put in May of last year. So if we break down on the dollar index on this daily time frame, the next area of strong support, aside from the swing low here that's coming in around 92.38, is at 91.84, 91.85 on the dollar index. I'm still on the slightly stronger dollar play here. I think that the dollar index could have another move up, maybe closer to 94. I think that this might drift a little bit higher over the Asian session, over the London session. I don't think there's going to be any real momentum because of the Jackson Hole Symposium coming up tomorrow. But if you want to get in a trade overnight or wherever you are in the world, maybe it's just morning where you are, I think buying the US dollar, even though it's risky, I think it might be the smart play. So selling the euro dollar, selling the pound dollar, and of course my trade here, selling the Aussie dollar. And if I boil this down to 15-minute, you can see the Aussie dollar is starting to push down a little bit more. My stop is up quite a ways. That stop, you know, 25, 27 pips, will likely be pulled down if we can push down into the 78.80 range. You know, if we can get 15 to 17 pips of profit, maybe 20, when we're shooting for under 40, I don't mind pulling my stops down. Look, I'm hoping that this Aussie buck stays under this descending trend line here. I'm giving it a little bit of room in case there's some low liquidity here overnight during this Asian or Tokyo session, letting, you know, price just do what it wants to do. But I think this is a fairly low risk trade. I definitely don't plan to have this trade on, or probably not even my silver trade on tomorrow. I'm going to be around tomorrow morning early hours, probably 5, 6 a.m. Central Time, and then I'm going to be gone for most of the day. I'll still have my cell phone to get out of trades if I need to, but my plan is to be flat in the market going into the weekend because there's going to be gaps. I mean, Sunday night, if you're in the U.S. when the Forex market's open, I think this is going to be a sort of killer Sunday gap on a lot of different pairs, more notably the euro dollar, euro yen. Maybe the euro pound will finally start to come down. Let's take a look at the chat here. Let's see. UJ uptrend from 818 support. Got it. You're in silver too, Yudi. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's definitely not a very exciting trade, right? I mean, it's not. This is not, you know, making me want to sing and dance on how excited I am here, but it looks good nonetheless. This is the whole setup where the stop and the target. Again, I don't see silver going down to 1645, 1646 before Jackson Hole. So maybe we'll have to take off some of the profits before. Yeah, Cedar, you got it. Gold dives for 5 minutes and retraces for 15. Painful to watch. That's right. And that's just, you know, I think any kind of trader that's been around for a while, unless you're just scalping short term, you know, the big boys, so to speak, would say, look, you know, take your profits when you get them and then just get flat during Jackson Hole and be flat for the weekend because you're going to have some gaps. The Euro NOK, I've never looked at that chart in my life. I'm sorry about that. I've never traded it. If anyone has opinions on that, let me know. Jenny says no Euro NOK for me. Yeah. That's exactly right, Yudi. Do you think Jackson Hole effect will be the strongest on Monday since Draghi talks on Saturday? Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you are in the world. Here in the U.S., when the Forex market opens, depending on where you are, 4:30 p.m. Sunday afternoon, evening is when the market opens, and you're going to see that gap. So whenever the market's open, I think there's going to be a gap. AKA amazing. I do recommend closing all trades over the weekend. I usually do that, but the way I like to play it, and I think I've said this a bunch of times before, but just to bring it up again, if you're not willing to close your trades over the weekend, at least be on the side of the risk. So in other words, North Korea stuff, global unrest and uncertainty. And with that, I mean buying silver, buying gold, selling the yen crosses. In other words, buying the Japanese yen. So that if something unpredictable unfolds, you're going to be on the right side. Now, with this Jackson Hole Symposium going on for a few days, it's very difficult to know where things are going to be. So expect a lot of volatility. Expect when the market opens up to see some gaps. And again, this is just my opinion. I could be wrong, but expect some gaps. My overall bias is going to be for a euro weakening after Mario Draghi talks, but don't be surprised to see it spike up and hit stops too. So if you want to be around for a long time and be consistent and not lose more and gamble, my advice would be to close your trades. Because look, the way you become successful in Forex is you find your pattern and your strategies and you try to reproduce it over and over and over again to get the same or a better result than you got the time before. And it's just hard to reproduce this, with the euros being overextended, especially on the euro dollar. If we pull that up here, with the euro dollar being, overextended, basically running up straight since the very end of December, beginning of January, and running up all the way up to the highs, 1,500 pips or so, doesn't mean it can't go up a lot higher, because it did have a nice retracement, 150 pips, 200 pips, but with it being overextended, Draghi talking inflation, probably, I think the euro is going to come under pressure. That's just my humble opinion. Yeah, silver's quite a wide. Hey, Yo-Yo, what's going on? Nice to see you. Yeah, that's right, Yudi. I'm not an over the weekend holder. The only things I hold is if I'm trying to build up a swing trade. Like I'll hold silver over the weekend, not this weekend because of the summit, but I'll hold, longer term trades like that. I do still occasionally put a small sort of, you could call it a basket or a step in or a pyramid, order of trades on, do one lot, maybe a 0.7, then a 0.4 and a 0.2. Keep my stops moving. Those types of trades I would keep over the weekend. Maybe take half off, that kind of thing. Yeah. Jenny's moving the gold market, I guess. Let's take a look at gold. Yeah. Oh, boy. I mean, if you want to talk about market indecision, low liquidity, take a look at gold. I mean, this is going back a ways, but when we go back 100 and some hours, we got these spikes and things, but I like to trade patterns on charts. It doesn't have to be exact, but I like to look for the patterns. And gold is doing what a lot of other pairs and commodities are doing right now, and that's basically consolidating. You could say it's consolidating for whatever reason. If you want to use this Jackson Hole Symposium as the reason, that's fine. But it's definitely consolidating. I think we traded this breakout here. That was back in the beginning, first or second week of August 7th and 8th, I believe. So we're consolidating on gold. If you look at this, sort of sideways wedge here, maybe buying gold would be a play if you're sort of trying to do a channel trade or a bounce. but I just wouldn't recommend it. I mean, I always trade what I recommend, and if I'm not in it, I don't recommend it because I'm the ones that I feel good about, I try to get in. Silver is doing a similar thing, sort of going sideways here. Neither one is super exciting to me. Dollar CAD, my nemesis here. I mean, take a look at the bottom corner. Got a couple dojis here. Got some hammers. Some elongated spinning tops, almost like a tweezer. You know, I think things are gonna vibrate here through the Asian session and into London session. We're gonna see some volatility and some false breakouts and regressing back to the mean. So I want to give you some good trades, like I say all the time. I just don't have very many right now that I feel are, you know, higher quality, other than possibly selling the Aussie dollar and possibly trying to pick a top and get short on the euro pound. The only reason that euro pound trade is somewhat appealing is because I feel like the euro might get talked down on Jackson Hole, and I also feel like it's overextended, and I also feel like there's been a strong amount of support coming in here. I mean, you can see it very, very easily at the top. You know, this is a strong area of support that was put in on the top of the euro pound, and that was coming up all the way to 92.30s, 92 almost 40. We were talking about the angle and separation this morning that we look for in an upward trend to see if the momentum is accelerating as time moves forward, and we can definitely see that in the euro pound. We can see the angle of the moving averages widening and separating as the momentum increases up to the top. So when you look at a chart like this, let me get these shrunk out of the way because we have a little divergence play possibly at the top here as well to sell counter trend. But if you look at the top here, you know, there's not a lot of momentum pushing down. In other words, any stops that were hit, if you were short in this area, what happens in the markets, generally just in the most simplistic sense, is when price breaks out, it hits people's stops, right? And that downward force of those sells, those short orders is eliminated, and buyers come into the market, and more people who do breakout trading who have pending orders to buy, those trigger, the algos trigger, and we get this impulsive move upward, right? And to see where it ends, we want to look for lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Now, I don't think that it would be too shocking. I'm going to slide this way over here. I don't think it would be too shocking on the euro pound to see this come down a little ways, retrace a little bit, and then push down and put in a new lower low that is beneath this swing low that was put in at about 91.88. I think that might happen. I feel like the odds of that happening right now are somewhat controlled and muted because of the, you know, the big symposium going on over the weekend. The other reason that this looks appealing, of course, and I think the most appealing reason, is that the potential for it to move, it gets back to the 4 hour, the potential pips that you can reap on the downside are more predictable and easy to measure than the upside potential, because we're coming up on this wick, which is the long-term high that was put in last October, sitting around 92.55. So selling into a strong momentum uptrend is not a good idea. However, there are a few reasons if you wanted to take a short-term play. My advice would be to not be in the trade during or just leading up to Mario Draghi, because we're going to see a lot of volatility. Just from, and if you've been trading a long time, you might be able to relate to this, but if I were sitting in front of my chart before Mario Draghi came on, I would expect this pair to whip up, maybe take out the highs, take people's stops, see that impulsive move to the upside, and then based on what he says, if he says what I think he might say, then see it fold down. So in other words, if you're short, you're probably going to get stopped out. If you have a pending long up above the highs, you might get triggered and stopped out. So the best thing to do is to just sit on the sidelines. And yes, you can get lucky and make a lot of money trading big news events like that. However, is it reproducible? Is it something that you're confident that you can do over and over again to build your account, to possibly take money from investors and use that strategy? I don't think so. It's just hard to do. It's much easier to trade a consistent strategy, whether it's pattern trading or support and resistance or moving averages, or if you have indicators like the MACD, stochastics, oscillators, that type of thing. That's something that's more reproducible, which is the reason that over the years I've learned to be more comfortable and consistent trading during times where there's not a lot of high impact news releases. All right. So can I be wrong? Of course. I'm wrong all the time. But the trades that I lose, I don't want to say are always, but are almost always smaller losses than the wins. Here's a look at the Aussie buck short starting to unfold. Let's see what we have in the chat here. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, yeah, right. Draghi and Yellen. We'll throw the 1 minute Aussie dollar up here just for excitement purposes while I look at the chat. Let's see. Good trade on gold, Jenny. It says lower bounce. It's at 185 correlated. I was going to post this Aussie dollar as a trade idea when I got done too, but it might be a little too late. Yeah, Zimbabwe dollars. Take a whole wheelbarrow full of Zimbabwe dollars to buy a loaf of bread. Let's see. Future markets. Yeah, little news on LMFX too. I know you guys are chatting about brokers here. When I let's see, how can I say this without divulging any private information of my own or anyone else's? LMFX now moved, I think it was maybe 3 weeks ago or so, 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. They moved to a regulated and licensed bank. They have, I can actually tell you from our chat message, they have a regulated and licensed bank. That's where the wires, especially for larger amounts, can be sent to. And it's the largest bank in Prague, Czechoslovakia. I think they have over 3 million customers when I was looking them up online. Let me see if I can find the conversation here, as long as I'm not showing any private stuff here. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Where is it? I think it's PNB Paribas they're going to be moving to. Segregated accounts. Yeah. BNP. I'm just looking for the name of the banks here. Sorry for the delay. Oh well, I don't find it here. We chat quite a bit, and I'm just scrolling through all the chat, but I forget the name of the bank. But it's the largest bank. If you can look it up on Google, I suppose. I don't have the name right in front of me, but it's the largest bank in Prague, Czechoslovakia, and it's a European licensed and regulated bank where they hold the segregated accounts. So LMFX is really coming around. I mean, he's doing a lot of great work. He's got great support. Yeah. All right. I can't find it right now, but you get the idea. Let's see. Jason, currently using Interactive Broker solely for Forex trading. Do you recommend a dedicated Forex broker instead? AKA amazing. I mean, that's up to you. Whatever you feel comfortable doing. For a lot of traders, a little different price, whether you have a larger spread or an ECN broker that charges a commission, or you have a flat fee to trade. For most traders, it's not a huge difference unless you're quite active with your trading. You can use that number or lot size however you want. If you do more than 10 or 20 trades a week, or if you're trading more than one standard lot per trade, I mean, you got to treat your trading like a business. So it's all about keeping your costs down. If you have a broker that you're very trustworthy, you're very trusted with, and you trust them, and they've wired you money or sent you money before, and they're regulated and licensed, and you like them, my advice is to stay where you are and just have peace of mind. If you're looking to try to save money, there's a lot of bucket shop brokers out there that'll say it's almost free to trade, but have fun getting your money out, right? So I try to be somewhere in the middle. And my personal experience is that the brokers that are listed at Forex Signals here are very good brokers. They've been vetted out. The people that run and work with Forex Signals have live accounts throughout all the brokerages. And we get a little extra pull, better support, because we have a group of traders that we bring to these brokers. So we get VIP support. As you know, LMFX will give you 24/7 support with their broker. And that's the one I know the most about because I'm here in the US. The other brokers I can't say a lot about. I know Interactive Brokers is obviously very trustworthy. I wouldn't be too concerned about losing money there, but it's really up to you. LMFX spreads. Yeah, LMFX has a few different accounts. You can have a zero account, which is basically like an ECN account where they have spreads as low as zero with a commission. You can have a premium account, which is what I use. And then they have another one. I think it's a fixed spread account. So there's different accounts with them. Momentum meter, make it available on Pepperstone. I can't tell you this because I don't have a Pepperstone account. I don't have a demo with them. But I believe the momentum meter works with Pepperstone as well. A way you can try it is to open up a demo and see if it works. Otherwise, send a support email in to support@forexsignals.com, and they can help you out with that. The momentum meter is one thing that I'm not that involved with because Andrew, had that meter coded for him and basically branded it over and updated it, put in some extra features like his commentary through Forex Signals. So Andrew, Nick, Will, Dominic, those guys, they could tell you more about that. I'm not an expert in that. So, one of the things that makes me sleep good at night, and it's the same with my trading, whether I'm talking about the markets with you or I'm seeing my patients in the office, I just try to be honest with people. If I don't know something, I'll tell you. Maybe you need to see somebody else who's more of an expert in a certain field, because gone are the days of trying to, act like I know everything and make up stories. That's back when I was a young kid. Being in my 40s now, it's a lot easier just to tell it like it is. So maybe you can relate to that, some of you. Devon, what's a good broker for scalping? Good broker for scalping? It depends. I mean, I think the LMFX accounts are great. Either the premium account, the premium account spreads are very good on the majors and good on the Euro Aussie, which I like. You can also get a zero account with them if you wanted to and have spreads really small. And you have to do a little math to see how much better it is having a very small spread plus a commission versus just a spread. But I would not recommend, and I don't have much experience with it, but I would not recommend the fixed spread account. Fixed spread accounts are for people who run, generally, it can be for anybody, but usually people who run expert advisors that can trade through news events, that don't want to have all the volatility and liquidity issues through news events. Generally, fixed spread accounts, in my opinion, become B-booked because you just can't promise a price for a certain amount of lots if the market doesn't give it. So I like to tell people to avoid fixed spread accounts. Yeah, thanks, Yudi. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about Pepperstone. Sorry about that. Saying IC markets is good for scalping. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about IC markets. I just don't use them myself. Some of the guys are using blueberry markets as well now. That's regulated and licensed out of Australia. Again, I don't know much about them either. I'm sort of thinking about taking a short term or a trade over in the euro pound here to the downside. It just looks tired to me. But you know, I don't want to have to babysit something and think about it, you know. I did take a short on it earlier on LMFX account. I'll pull up my, I don't know if you can see this. I pull up my terminal, my trading history. Where was it? It was not that profitable. I had a one lot order on the euro pound at 1949 LMFX broker time, whatever time that is. Today on August 24th, I sold at 92,257 and I got out at 92,198. So I think I made 6 pips, 7 pips. It was $75.54. So I took a scalp short for about 6 pips on the euro pound earlier today, and it worked out, but it was super short term. It wasn't anything worth posting a trade idea because people would have saw the trade idea and it would have already been too late. Take a look at this if you want to see just how interesting the markets are right now on the momentum meter. You can see the USD is the strongest currency along with the Swiss, not too far followed by the CAD, but they're all consolidating here. The Canadian dollar on the 1 hour is still quite above its 20 moving average, and the one that's way down at the bottom is the Australian currency, I believe. Is that the Australian currency? No, that's not the Australian currency. It's the Japanese yen. Got to make sure you're not colorblind if you're looking at this stuff. So the yen is down on the weak side, the CAD's up on the strong side. Everything else is just regressing back towards its 20 moving average, which is pretty typical during Asian session when there's not a lot of news. Let's see. BOJ trims JGB purchases today. Dollar yen eases off. Japan's core CPI rises for the 7th straight month in July. And even though I've been talking about Jackson Hole, and that's been sort of the buzz with traders throughout the day, don't forget that we have German IFO business climate out of the Eurozone at 3 a.m., which is an hour after London Open. And we also have the core durable goods orders month over month and the durable goods orders month over month out of the USD. The USD numbers are expected to be better than expected, and the Euro numbers are expected to be slightly under previous. I'm sorry, the durable goods orders are supposed to be over previous. So don't forget to take a look at the economic calendar ahead of the Jackson Hole Symposium, because there are a couple more high impact news releases that could get you just a little bit after London Open, especially out of the Eurozone. Andrew will be back. I think he's coming back September 4th. He updated the schedule in the room. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can look at it right now, but he updated the schedule in the room. He's going to be back, I believe, on September 4th. So then you have Tony live streaming, myself, Andrew. Let's see if I can get this out of here. I don't see any other streams here for any of the new traders. But there should be 4 of us streaming live, possibly 5. And of course, Nick has been doing some streams as well. Again, so just to give you a little summary, I was long dollar yen earlier. I got out of that, and I'm not going to get back into it. Made about 21, 22 pips there. I'm still short on silver, although I don't plan on holding it after or up to and during Jackson Hole. Let me see if he's on the live stream. Okay, good. Every once in a while we get messages from people that just don't want to put things in the public forum here, and that's totally fine. I respect that. I have no problem with that. Let's see what else we have. Let's see. I see. For zero spreads ECM, what minimum amount do you think is ideal to trade with? Yeah, AK amazing. Have a good dinner. Just had a great dinner tonight. Oh, it was good. For zero spreads, what minimum amount do you think is ideal to trade with? I mean, gosh, that's a question I really can't answer for you. I mean, it depends on what you're looking to do. If you're looking to make, X amount of dollars or X percent, I guess, if for most traders that I know that are newer, not saying you're brand new or you're a millionaire or anything, but I would assume for scalping with the ECN account, you probably want to have at least $1,000, something like that. So that way when you make your pips, it's at least worth it. If you trade with $50 or $100, totally fine. But to sit and watch and trade and maybe make a buck or two or three or five, at least in my opinion, it's hard to make it worthwhile. Pepperstone's good. Never tried Nick's blueberry thing, but it's on the to-do list. Yeah, check it out. Oh yeah, Yudi said share with us after you tried blueberry. I don't have any feedback on blueberry. I mean, I just have what I hear from Nick and the guys, and it sounds good. New trade ID has been posted. Let's see what we have here. Dollar CAD long by PVM Forex. Interesting trade idea there. The DXY is picking up a little bit of steam now. You can see that here. Not saying it's going to continue to push up, but yeah, on the 5-minute chart, which I rarely use, in 15's as low as I'll ever go, most of the time. Most of the time. But, you have to form your bias. I don't want to ramble on about this, but you have to pick your bias, right? So my bias is to see the DXY push up and sort of hover around through Asian session, coming into London, and then maybe push down and maybe continue on this downward momentum. Sort of like it did back here in the end of June, beginning of July, right in this area where my cursor is moving here. It pushed up, pushed down, pushed up again, and then it broke through. And you can see from some of these candles, pretty impulsive, momentous move to the downside. And then, of course, it changed direction, at least in the short term, since the beginning of August. So I'm looking for the DXY to push up just a little bit. That might take the euro dollar, pound dollar, and Aussie dollar down a little, which, of course, would help my Aussie dollar trade. Yens, I think you're going to see this kind of thing go on up to and during Jackson Hole, these, false breakouts. The only way I recommended trading this, if you just had to get in, was wait till it comes back into this area where these two wicks are, and then take it to the long side. I mean, if you had to trade it, you wait till it comes down into this area and get long. So I wouldn't be selling dollar yen right now. I'd be buying it if you had to, but I'm not convinced enough to put my own money on the line. Well, let's see. Hey, you got it, Yudi. $2 McChicken. Funny. Nothing wrong with that. Subway in Bali. I wouldn't mind being in Bali. Yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to let it at that, and hopefully you all do well. And just remember, if you're not sure what to do, if you're not sure what's going to happen with Jackson Hole, or especially over the weekend, it's going to be a coin toss. I mean, you could make a bunch of money. You could make a bunch of money and give it all back. You could hit your stops and still be correct. There's more ways to lose than there is to win. So take my advice on this one. Get out of the trades during the speeches. If you want to get in after, that's fine, obviously. But try to be flat into the weekend because the market opens, I think, going to be a little bit more unpredictable than most. So we'll leave it at that. Yeah, nice to see you, Erebus. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend. I won't be streaming tomorrow, but I think Tony might be on. I'm not able to check right at the moment. But otherwise, enjoy. And don't forget to have a little bit of fun. And I'll see you then. Take care.